I've been a gamer now for the better part of the last 30 years, going all the way back to the NES. It's only been since the pandemic hit last year in 2020 that I really decided to focus on video game collecting. When I started last year, I had nearly 50 games, I'd say. Now it's at nearly 400 games. Though the biggest collection, but slowly getting there. In the last year and a half, roughly, I've collected some really good games, and I've picked up some really bad games. So in this video, I'm going to go over 5 of the worst games that I have in my collection right now. Let's check it out. So the first up, we have Shadowgate on the NES. Going to start off this one being super generous because I didn't think this is that bad a game. It just doesn't function well on the NES. It's originally a point and click game. They came out in the Macintosh in the late 80s and it's just too slow for the NES. The story's good, it's very short, it's only about half an hour long when you know what you're doing, but point and click, it just doesn't work, I'm afraid. If you've got patience, which I have not, you'll enjoy it. For me, it was just a bit too slow. Like I said, well, I didn't think this is necessarily a bad game. It's hard for me to keep my attention on the game. It's just too slow. It's too over cumbersome to go through the menus and then you're using the D-pad for your clicker. It just doesn't work for me. Good puzzle solver, good overall story, but I'm afraid no for me. Next up, Scooby-Doo Classic Creep Capers on the N64. Again, I really wanted to enjoy this game. Scooby-Doo is one of my favourite cartoons from when I was a kid. And I knew kind of getting into it on the N64, it wasn't going to be the best. But I loved the old school cartoon design that they had. And the fact that they stuck with some of the original monsters as well. It just ticked all the right boxes for me. Unfortunately for this, the controls is what let it down for me. It's just too, what's the word, shit, I want to say. The controls are a bit all over the place. You can see it's kind of a fixed camera. But sometimes it's tank controls, sometimes it changes. If you're pressing up to move forward in one scene, if you're still pressing up in the next, you're still going forward. But if you reorientate yourself and press a different direction, you end up messing yourself up. This isn't that big a problem, but the majority of the game is you getting chased. And it can be really annoying when you get caught because your controls are a bit goofy. Like I said, I really wanted to enjoy this game. The design for it is amazing. The story is amazing. The fact it's on N64 is amazing. It's just hard to play through with these controls. But that's Scooby-Doo Classic Creep Capers on the N64. Good evening, I'm Spooge McDougal. Breaking news now as we go to our resident Resident Evil expert, Chris. Chris, what can you tell us about Resident Evil Operation Raccoon City?
It's shit.
Can you specify which part you didn't like?
All of it.
Okay, can you be more specific? Is it the gameplay, the story, the characters, the music?
All of it is shit.
Thanks, Chris. more as the story develops. I'm Spooge McDougal. Thank you. Operation Raccoon City on the Xbox 360. Oh, I don't know where to start with this game. If this wasn't a Resident Evil game and was just its own IP, if you're still shooting zombies, great. But the fact that they tacked on Resident Evil to this game is what makes it a bad game. It's a bad, bad Resident Evil game. Playing through the game is fairly laborious. You've got not only your teammates' AI that is absolutely shocking. They didn't know where they're gone half the time. But then you've got the enemy AI. They just seem to walk about. You don't know what they're thinking. You're there trying to goad them into a fight. To be fair, you feel like the bad guy because you're just kind of picking on them. Just for me, it just doesn't work. I don't know what it is. Some of it's just tacky. Some of the gameplay is just a bit wank. Like it just... I didn't have fun playing it. I didn't have fun capturing footage. It just... No. If you like it, let me know down below, because I might be, you know. But overall, it's just a bland, boring game. Maybe, like I said, if it wasn't a Resident Evil title, maybe it would have played better. Maybe it would have been a bit more forgiving. But I don't know, it just seems like they've just kind of tried to cash in on a pre-existing franchise without trying to build any of their own kind of backstory and whatnot. Ugh, Brink. Now, I don't even know where to start with this game, to be honest. The hype for this game when it came out was off the fucking chart. Was insanely hyped for the customizable features you had, for the gameplay, for the design, for the mods, for the just... I remember there was so much behind this game and I was so excited for when it came out. And then it came out, and then it all went downhill from there. You pick either the Resistance faction or the Security faction. The Resistance are basically trying to free this island called the Ark, which is like a futuristic, dystopian kind of thing where they've tried to save people and blah 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 blah. But the other side is the Security, who's basically trying to save the island and dispel the Resistance. As a shooter, it's good, but it just didn't live up to the hype. And they've done a thing where they kind of backfilled the game with a load of bots, so you have objectives on each side, and they backfilled it with bots, and their AI is ridiculously bad. It is shockingly bad, to the point where you're meant to be able to play this on your own. There's a campaign you're meant to play on your own, but you can't complete it because these bots are just too stupid, and it's infuriating. Brink, suck my ass. Every few years, there's a game released that's so bad it makes you question your decision to become a gamer. Everything about this game is horrendous. The Wii version, the PlayStation version, the Xbox version are all so bad they make me want to quit gaming entirely. The controls are awful, the graphics are awful. The only good thing about this game is the music. Now, I'm so scared. I know the game's coming for me, and I know it's going to find me. I've not long left. Alone in the dark. Now at the time, I knew there was a big performance difference between the Wii, the PlayStation and the Xbox. I 100% get that. I opted for the Wii version because I'm a Wii Nintendo fanboy. This was another game that suffered for being completely overhyped pre-launch. So I got the Wii version, like I said, and they have forced motion controls in on this game, which do not help it in the slightest. The biggest thing for this game was this trailer. That single scene sweeping over Central Park sold me on this game. Now, like I said, I knew the Wii version wasn't going to be as good, so I thought it was just the fact that it was the Wii version. No, I played the Xbox version, and I don't know why I done it to myself. I thought, f it, I'll play the PlayStation 3 version. And guess what? They all suck absolute balls. Now, the controls and the gameplay are better on the PlayStation and Xbox counterpart, but it's still not enough to save the game. There's so much content cut for the Wii version that I don't understand how the graphics can be so bad if they cut out half the game. Alone in the Dark? Nah. F this.